What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for hanging in there with me and watching another video. So I just want to go ahead and, if you're new to the channel, if you just subscribed, make sure to hit that bell on the bar down there so you get all the notifications for the video when I drop something new. I'm not on a regular schedule yet with the videos, but I'm going to try and get there at least 2 to 3 per week if I can. Got a new laptop, working on that, so once that comes, it'll kind of sort everything out and help everything move a little quicker. I posted on my Instagram. Wait, check these pants out. Yeah, I'm in my pajamas. Not feeling too hot, but we're still going to try and drop something for you guys. So, like I was saying, on my Instagram feed, I posted that I was going to pull out some wintertime stuff, basically make a little video, do some wintertime techniques, some baits that I've been throwing and what's been producing for me. So let's go ahead and jump into that. We're going to go over 4 or 5 baits, and then we're going to go over my rod and reel setup real quick. Alright, so one of the first things, I've been throwing a bunch, and like I said, it's cold. It's finally that cold, frigid winter, that winter temp. Here in Texas especially, we got down to, I was fishing the other day, on Tuesday, and it was 7 degrees where I was on the water. So nice mustache was frozen over and everything. GoPro wouldn't even work for me. But the guys that are down here in the southern part of the United States that have open water, that are still fishing big baits, I figured you guys would appreciate this to some extent. So I've been throwing the 10-inch magdraft. This has been my first choice, slow rolling it, covering a lot of water, especially water obviously where I know fish are. So a good bait to really hit a located fish, I feel like. If you know there's a fish sitting on a brush pile or rock ledge or some type of structure or wherever it's at, and you know you're pretty confident that fish is there, and you feel like you could go catch it, but the weather conditions aren't the greatest, and you want to have something that really is going to make that fish eat. And I feel like this bait really does that with the action of the tail. It's not a super subtle bait. It is, but it's not. The body is super subtle. It doesn't do a ton of rolling or anything crazy, but the tail has a really good wobble to it, and it's pretty fat when it wobbles back and forth. And so, in my opinion, when it's coming up to the fish or it's coming by a fish and that tail is really wagging in its face like that, it kind of flashes behind the fish, and you can it's like a dying one, And so that fish really doesn't have any choice but to just come up and just lean over, smash the bait, right? And so, I mean, that's kind of how I've been using it. Obviously, the colder it gets, the harder it is to fish for a lot of people, because you don't know where these fish are. You're not sure, you're not certain. You're going out, you're just covering water, and you're trying to find a fish, But wintertime, it gets a lot more specific. You really have to know where those fish are and where they sleep, basically, because that's how you're going to get bit, by putting the bait right in front of their face and by holding it there or soaking it there in front of them, or by just getting the right action as you're coming through them, So for me, magdraft does that. I mean, you can tell right up there on top, getting chomped, you know what I mean? Whole bait gets killed. I put a nice easy swing into the rod, get a decent hook set. Want to make sure you drive those big hooks into the corner of their mouth. That way, potential throws the bait, you still got plenty of hold on the fish with that chain harness on there. So I dig it. 10-inch magdraft by Megabass. Check them out. If you don't have one, they're pretty inexpensive bait. It's a great starter beginner plastic bait for guys getting into swim bait fishing. Next bait. 8-inch Huddleston. Everybody knows the Huddleston when it comes to swim bait fishing. It's a household name by now. This is just a trout pattern in a ROF 5. It's rated to fall 5, and in my opinion, it's like a super slow sink. It almost suspends to an extent depending on what your water temp is, I feel like. I just run a single hook on these guys. They're only 8 inches to me. That's not very big. A smallmouth could eat this, but yeah, a 3-4 pounder is going to have plenty of room in his mouth to fit this little bait in there. So I just run a single hook. I just make sure that I leave a little bit of line out when I'm reeling. I leave a little tension off of the rod so that when he hits it, he has plenty of room to really suck that bait in, and then I get my hook set back. But yeah, 8-inch Huddleston, dig it. I've caught some fish on it. I put it in a video just a while back. So Cool bait. Definitely a good one to have in your arsenal. The weedless version, if you can find them, those are great too. Just got to get a little bit harder hook set on them to really penetrate through the plastic and make sure everything's clean. But great baits, Huddleston baits. Next thing I want to move on to is a more conventional technique, in my opinion, because it's been out for so long now. I mean, I was throwing these. We were throwing these as a kid, back in the early 2000s, late 90s. A rigs, Alabama rigs. I've got these paired up with Beast Coast Customs. Wow, drawing a blank on there right now. Oh, it's a Chaos X. It just came out. They're a little, like 3.5 inch, little swim bait, little baby paddle tail. Very nice, very clean, great design. Super clean. I really like them. I got this on, like I said, on my A-rig. We're in Texas, so I've got 5 hooks rigged up. Make sure to check your local, regulations, and make sure that you're not breaking any rules. Make sure you don't have, too many hooks. Everybody's state regulations are different, so make sure you stay within those codes. But Alabama rig, great rig. It downfalls, getting tangled up, baits getting hung, line getting hung, stuff like that. Benefits: you can catch maxed out fish at one time. You can catch a bag at one time. You never know. You can catch 5-10 pounders. Well, here in Texas. But yeah, great rig. Winter time, you're going to emulate that whole entire school of shad or little bait fish or whatever it may be, whatever your target species is for, whatever forage species is. And I like to fish this on a slow retrieve, give it pops and jerks, and you really can see those the little shad. They'll kind of fall and die and play and stuff like that while you're moving, little bitty movements of the rod. So it's really a lot more versatile than people give it credit for. It's not just a cast and a reel bait. You can really add a lot of action to this thing. But yeah, an Alabama rig, clutch in the wintertime, really emulating, like I said, a little ball of bait fish, and as that comes through a little school of fish or by a good sized fish, he's gonna see an easy target, easy meal. So I like throwing the Alabama rig. I don't throw it a ton, but I do like throwing it. Then we'll go into what everybody in the swim bait world thinks you should throw when it's wintertime. Everybody thinks you throw glide bait. That's when you throw a glide bait. It's only in the wintertime. You can throw glide bait all year round, whenever you want. Yes, they work really well in the wintertime because slow action, slow retrieve. You're keeping it right there in the fish's face. You're keeping it right over top of his head. I mean, he has to come check it out. He's got to look at it. It's not a ton of effort. He can come up. He can hit a slow-moving bait. She can hit a slow-moving bait. Glide baits, they work. They're proven to work. Guys catch monsters on them all the time. But there's a lot that goes into glide baits. There's all different kinds of glide baits. There's all different styles, all different retrieves. I mean, this, in my opinion, the iSlide 220, 262T, this is the JDM version with the paint scheme, but it's more of a jerk bait in my opinion. It's a rod tweaker. You're going to pop, 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 let it sit. You're going to get that action out of it. On a slow retrieve, this bait isn't that great in my opinion, but it has its purpose. It serves as like what I consider as my big jerk bait. You get into a lot of more typical style glide baits. Debs 250. This has a really clean action in the water. Great tail action. It emulates a trout or emulates a hickory shad down here in the south, or just any kind of long, skinnier profile bait fish that you've got. Really emulates that really well. And the super subtle action of it, and the ability to pause this bait and let it subsurface, just hang out, does a lot for it. It kind of has a little fall to it, has a little play to it. There's a lot you can do with this bait. So yeah, I mean, everybody knows Debs 250. This is not a monster glide bait. This is a nice size. This is a good meal for a bass. Lots of love on the 250s. The Debs, I mean, they've been doing this for a long time. They know what they're doing. But yeah, you can get into something smaller. I mean, if you're talking, these fish are real stagnant and they're not moving and they're sitting there, and you need to hit them in the face with the bait, basically. I like throwing the Roman Made Negotiator. The size of it, the profile of it, it's small. It sits in the water perfectly. It glides amazing on a slow retrieve. Like I was saying with the Huddleston, about keeping a little bit of line, keeping that tension pretty light so that fish really is able to suck that bait down. The same thing I always make sure and do on my glide baits is always have just a little bit out there. That way when they hit the bait, they have plenty of room for me to really get back and set the hook on them, and not just pull the bait out of their mouth. But allowing them to eat the bait is key. Alright, let's go into the rods real quick. I've just been really throwing 2 setups. It's covering my big baits that I'm throwing, and it's covering my smaller baits like the Negotiator and the HUD and stuff like that. So let's go into those real quick. Alright, so the two combos that I've been throwing, and you've kind of seen in the videos if you've been watching, is the 807 medium heavy by F5 Custom Rods, old Brad Vanderpool out of Oklahoma, a good buddy of mine. Even threw the little Bass Brigade logo on there for me, a real nice guy. I've got the 9-inch mag slow tied on here right now. This is what I was throwing the other day on 65-pound red P-line, Power Pro, with the Shimano Trinks. And I've got this in the 300 on the slow gear ratio with the paddle handle. For me, that's all I need. I don't need high speed. I don't need low. I mean, for me, this works. This works really well for where I'm fishing and what I'm doing, the applications that I'm throwing it in. I really like this 300 size reel. I see a lot of guys throwing the 4s and stuff like that, and who knows, maybe we'll get a 400 size one day. But for now, this 3 really does me well, and I really like it. It's been probably one of the best reels that I've thrown in the Shimano lineup, and I've been a Shimano guy my whole entire life. So yeah, Shimano Tranks 807. This is a, like I said, medium heavy action. I think it's maxed out about 4 ounces or so. Really nice taper to the tip. Great for treble style hooks. Also great for single style hooks. I caught a. Did I post the video? I don't know if I posted that video or not. I don't think I have yet. Fish on a burrito shad, single hook, plenty of backbone, plenty of hook set for that bait as well. But great rod. It is a, let's see right here. Nice, tear up all the rods. You can see kind of the line, the eyes twist. They've got a spiral wrap to them, and I appreciate that he does that. These Outbreak Series rods are really great. He puts a lot of attention to detail in this rod, and for what you're paying for, guys, you're not going to find a better rod on the market. Nobody's going to give you this rod for this price, and the quality is part of none, in my opinion. And I've thrown a lot of rods, so I really appreciate what he's done with this, and I wouldn't be hanging out with the dude, and I wouldn't be pushing the product and really supporting the product if I didn't believe in it. Like I said, we'll be all F5 for this year, so we've got a couple more rods coming in here within the next couple of weeks, so we'll get some videos on those as well. And then this is basically the first rod I got from him is a 909 extra heavy. This is a proto rod when we first started out. It's on the website now. You can buy this rod. I love this thing. It's a meat stick. I can throw whatever I want on here. I can throw the Roman Made Mother. I can throw Hinkle Trouts. I can throw whatever I want to throw on this thing. 10-inch HUDs, magdrafts. I mean, whatever I want to throw, I can throw on this rod. I've got I believe it's a 17-inch handle with a little buttstock on there. Paired up with the Shimano 300E. You guys know I love my green machines. All my Corrados. I've got a stack of them. I just really been playing with that Trinks, and I'm really starting to get to like it. But I've got this paired up with a 25-pound P-line. I think it's the CXX in the clear version. I enjoy the P-line series online. I've been throwing it for a long time. When I threw a lot of conventional gear, I also threw P-line on all of those rods and reels. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. Like I said, the method to really knowing where that fish is, finding that fish previously in the season, or you know, weeks or months prior to knowing where this fish lives, locating him, and then putting that bait in front of his face and giving that bait airtime to really shine. I just want you guys to really remember that there's no rule book to bass fishing. Those fish don't have a book. They don't have a manual. They don't understand what we understand and how complicated we make it on ourselves with all of our gear and tactics and everything else. They're still fish at the end of the day, and they still have to eat. So pick your baits, you know, wisely. Make sure you have something that's really going to match the hatch in that sense that it's a big bait, and they are going to really take a look at it when it comes through there. But yeah, I hope you guys can maybe use some of these tactics and implement them into your own fishing strategies wherever you're at, and hopefully you get some success out of it as I have. So stay tuned for the next video. We might be doing, I was going to do a kayak setup and everything. We might do that here within the next week or so, but we've also got some fishing videos to post as well. So just stay tuned. Some good stuff to come here in 2018. We'll put a lot more time and effort into this. But I appreciate you guys for hanging in there with me and watching the videos, all the support and the love, man. It really means a lot to me. But yeah, just want to say thanks, guys. So I'm going to sign out on this one, and then stay tuned for the next one.